If you want to come up front, anybody else wants to sit in the front so we can move it right along?
Good evening, Mayor and Council.
Good evening.
My name's Tom House. I'm a citizen of the city of Titusville. I've been here for just shy of 51 years, which is practically all my life. Want to talk to you a little bit about the insurance again. I know we've talked about it several times in the past, but I believe that there's 15 members that are considered retirees in the drop program that got left out of the proper tier, and that would be the tier 1 of the insurance. We were left in the tier 3 of the insurance, and after some research and some reading back of my drop paperwork, I contacted some of the other drop members about it, and they agreed with me, and we're coming before council to ask you all to hear what we have to say and point out some issues in the drop, and then ask you to take a vote to put us into the tier 1 insurance claim. Back in December of 1990, when I hired on here, Sheila Hutchison was the HR director, and I was fresh out of the Army. And she told me that my benefits, if I stayed in the city of Titusville, would be that I would have insurance for the rest of my life. Well, as a young soldier just out of the Army, I asked her, Sheila, what do you mean by that? And she says, well, the city will provide you insurance if you stay through your retirement. And at the end, when you become eligible for Medicare, that will become primary and the city will become secondary. Young soldier, I didn't think much of it, but I stayed here in the city of Titusville because my benefits were better than what other agencies could give me, and I didn't trust to go out to the Cape because the Cape was never a secure job. We've seen that with the Challenger disaster and other disasters out there. Back in 2012, the city, not this council, but the prior council, started toying with our pensions. And I was looking at my pension, and I did the time and the paperwork on it and realized I was going to lose thousands of dollars if I didn't reach my pension. In 2003, I think it was, or 4, Jim McGinnis, a former commander, talked me into buying 2 of my 3 years military pension back. I paid dearly for that. In total for 3 years, I think I paid about $52,000 out of my pocket to buy 3 years of military experience. I've heard another former employee say to this council that we can buy airtime. Police and fire officers cannot, or police and firefighters cannot buy airtime. We can only buy military time and any certified time with another agency. So I bought 2 years, and then when they started toying with the pension, I decided I need to buy that 3rd year so I can get into the drop and secure my pension, and that's what I did. In 2014, this council said, we're going to change the insurance. If you don't get out of the drop, we're going to take away part of your insurance. We're going to pay. They put that cap on that y'all took away from the other retirees, and that's what I'm asking for the 15 of us that are in the drop. Now, when I signed up for the drop, I had to sign an agreement with the city of Titusville, as did every other person in the drop, and there's several of us here tonight that entered that drop. The very first sentence, it says, and if y'all don't mind, I'd like to give you a copy of it, and I highlighted it so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. This is my actual pension drop that I got one for the city manager as well. I actually scratched out my name and all, and then I thought, well, that's kind of foolish because, you know, we're talking about me. And we're talking about the others in the drop. I draw your attention to that first page. It says, in exchange for my membership in the drop, I acknowledge and agree to the following. And the second highlight says that in order to become a member of the drop, I must have retired. That's very important. Must have retired. At this city, when somebody retires, their health insurance is locked in. That's the way it's always been. I feel because of the way what that says, must have retired, means that we had to retire in order to enter into the drop. It says it in writing. Under normal service retirement, and elect to defer receipt of my retirement benefits into my drop.
Would you like additional time?
I would greatly like additional time if I could have it.
I would make that motion.
Second.
How long will it take?
Another couple minutes.
3 minutes?
I'll strive my best, sir.
All right. All those in favor say yes.
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 Any opposed? There's none opposed. Go ahead.
That third highlight on that page says, I agree that my participation in the drop, which the first one says I must have retired, okay, which I believe and the other drop members believe locked us into our health benefits. The same health benefits that those in the Tier 1 program have now. If you skip over to the third page, and you're more than welcome to keep these and read those if you haven't read it before. That third page, there's a highlight there that says that I understand that upon the effective date of my participation in the drop, which is when I must have retired, I will begin to accrue drop benefits as provided by the ordinance or for in the ordinance. And if you go down to the bottom, I highlighted that. I don't, because of my time, I don't want to talk much about it, but you can read it. It says that I will forego any other applicable additional improvements. What that says to us is if for some miraculous reason the pension changes and you get bumped them up to a 4% multiplier and they get better benefits and all, that doesn't affect those in the drop or the retirees. We just don't get it because we're considered retired. Now here's where part of that kicker is that comes in. On that last page, it says, as of the effective date of my participation in the drop, which was the date I must have retired in order to enter the drop, I will also be ineligible to receive disability and pre-retirement death benefits under the terms of the ordinance. So when I got that, I asked Julie Enright, what does that mean? And she says, well, Tom, that means that if you die, your family doesn't get death benefits. I said, so I'm going out to work for 5 more years. I've agreed to work 5 more years. But if I get killed in the line of duty, my wife or my family's not going to get the death benefits that they deserve, the 2.5 years of your annual salary and whatever else goes with it. She says, that's correct. We don't offer that to retirees. Then it goes on. I said, disability, what's that mean? Well, you can't get disability if you're injured. I said, so if I go out and I'm running code, lights and sirens to an accident or to an incident where somebody's harming somebody, and I get T-boned and I get paralyzed, I can't get disability benefits? She said, not for retirees, and you're considered a retiree. Now I go back to the insurance, and I'm finishing up. All of us in the drop, we were hired before the date that is on that tier. Every one of us retired as per this contract before April 2014. We would like to be included in that Tier 1 of the insurance. I've been around this city for 27 years as an employee. I know that this is the time, and I've talked to a few people, this is a time to come to this council because the budget process is starting. And you need to know about this before you go into the budget process, because I truly believe you need to count these 15 employees who have got over 140 years of service sitting right in this room to this city as a Tier 1 insurance employee. Now, could we have got out when they said that? Absolutely. We would have lost a lot of money. And I'll tell you, I had a prior department head come to me and said, Tom, you're stupid to get out because this council is going to go after the retirees' insurance. We all know that happened because we saw it. It came before this council, and you rectified some of it. And we're asking you today, as drop members, who are considered retirees by the language, to include us as a Tier 1 insurance recipient and not a Tier 3 where we were left at. I'm passionate. I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I love the city. I was born in Orlando but raised here. I have a passion for the city. I could have went to work elsewhere, and I chose to stay in Titusville. My retirement's going to be outside of the city, but I get goosebumps talking about Titusville. And we would like to see you all vote to put us, the 15 of us, back into the group we belong in and that we were promised when we were hired.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Are there other people that wish to speak on this subject? Unless there's an objection by anybody, I'm going to let them talk first before we go to discussion. Sir, if you come up.
I'm here to speak on a different subject.
Oh, no, I'm just talking about on this subject. Anybody else speaking on this subject? Okay, I don't see anyone. Mr. City Manager, do you want to comment on this at this time, or?
No, sir.
Okay. Mr. City Attorney, anything you'd like to add to this?
Well, you've heard the gentleman. I would suggest that tonight would not be an appropriate time to take a vote on anything. If this council is inclined to consider that, I would suggest you would ask for additional information for your consideration and schedule that for a different meeting once you've acquired that information or done any cost studies. But I would suggest, and noticed it. But if you want to take action on something, in my opinion, tonight would not be the time to vote.
Okay. Any comments?
I would agree that tonight isn't the night to address it, and we do need more information. But if legally, I'm sitting here going, if you're retired, you're retired. If you're retired for one reason, then you're retired. So it may be that they fit into that category.
It could well be, but I have to agree that we don't have enough information
Right.
tonight on, to make a decision tonight. This is kind of, we're getting it.
We don't have buttons.
First round.
It's very, very scary with no buttons. Yeah, I definitely want to hear more. I guess I'm a little surprised. I didn't realize we had left a group out. I don't think I even understand totally the difference between a tier 1 and a tier 3. And so I need to hear more. And obviously, my heart is to try to remedy the situation in the proper manner. But I don't feel comfortable right now because I don't feel like I know exactly what I'm remedying and how I'm remedying it. But I think we need to address this, and we need to get the information to do so.
Consensus on that?
Yes, sir. I feel comfortable with what I believe I heard, and what I believe that I heard was, as members choosing to participate in the DROP program, that effective the day that you sign on to DROP, you are effectively retired. Therefore, if that retirement date on entrance of DROP meets the threshold of our tier 1 that we looked at in those bracketing, then why aren't they included as retired employees? So that's what I heard. I would definitely welcome a chance to go back on that, look at it, understand it, but most importantly, then bring it back to council. I think that would be a critical step with whatever the findings are from that. So I would hope after research, we would bring that back and we would expedite bringing it back.
I would imagine we'll have a special meeting on this. I think it's that important, and we'll probably do that. All right, well, we'll go to the next subject then. Gary?